All right, all right, all right. Here we go. All righty. It is Craig Harris, and I am back tonight on the porch light. Do not know if anybody will pop in or pop out. This is one of the conspiracy podcasts, and I promised I was going to do this. I was going to wait till Saturday to do this, but what will happen tonight will be a read or a partial read of there's 7 to 14 Sumerian tablets. Now, before I go any further, everybody's going to know, who are the Sumerians? The Sumerians were humans that settled in Sumer, which is now known as modern day Iraq, Iran, that area. So these are their tales of creation given down to them. This has been dismissed as myth. You will hear things in the, you'll hear people talk about the 12th planet or the 9th planet, planet X, coming through the Milky Way, things like that. The legend is, very quickly, what they say is that before Earth was formed, one of Nibiru's moons, Nibiru is the home of the Anunnaki. Anunnaki has been translated to from heaven, those that came. Heaven means the sky. So loosely translated, beings from the sky. So with that said, the short tale of the Earth being formed is that one of Nibiru's moons crashed into Earth, and it's the equivalent of, you'll see two cars scrape each other and they'll have a paint transfer. Well, their waters, a lot of that stuff intermix with each other, and once that happened and things finally settled down, Earth was formed. Okay, Earth was formed. So and remember, Earth was only one continent. It did not have the continents that you have. Also, the continent, if you all don't know this, the continent of Africa, it's almost 1/4 of the Earth. I don't know if you all know that or not. When you look at a globe, they try to make all the continents kind of look roughly the same. The continent of Africa is gigantic compared to all other continents. But remember, there were no continents, umpteen years ago. So with that said, this is that read. What's going on, J-Dub and I-Die? A read. So this is an introduction. This is from a book called The Book of Enki. This has been translated by a scholar named Zachariah Stitchens. You've probably seen a lot of his stuff on Discovery and or A&E. But a lot of that stuff, I think a Greek guy named Georgie Tekoukalis, he's kind of went on with his work. So, and other people have picked up on his work too, Dr. Lloyd Pye, a bunch of other people. So, but here we go. Here's a quick introduction of what this is going to totally be about. Now, once this is finished, you will know everything. You'll know the beginning, how Earth was formed, as I just told you. You now know that, okay? You're going to also know where humanity came from, Homo sapien, okay? Homo sapien. And you'll also understand the creators and who created them. You'll get another flood story, which is part of this. But these tablets go back close to about 3,800 to 4,200 years before the Christian Judeo Bible. A lot of what you got out of the Christian Judeo Bible, especially the Genesis part, came out of this. So, and I mean, again, so we're going to get into it. So very quickly, here we go. Here's the introduction. Some 445,000 years ago, astronauts from another planet, that planet is called Nibiru, came to Earth in search of gold, a monatomic element. The reason they came here is because their atmosphere had been destroyed. by these things they were doing on their home planet, kind of similar to what we're doing here now. They had terrible storms. They had global warming, and Nibiru is a giant planet. It's almost as big as Jupiter. Okay, so it has land masses and things like that. So the splashing down on one of Earth's seas, they waded ashore and established Itaru. Itaru is home in the faraway. So when you hear me say Itaru for the rest of this story, you need to understand that means home in the faraway. Why is it called home in the faraway? Because it's far away from their home planet. Okay, they're coming here. Okay, in time, the initial settlement expanded to a full-fledged mission Earth with a mission control center, a spaceport, mining operations, and even a way station on Mars. Short on manpower, because enough of them did not come, the astronauts, the Anunnaki, employed genetic engineering to fashion primitive workers, Homo sapiens. Okay, there were no Homo sapiens on Earth when they got here. The deluge that catastrophically swept over the Earth required a fresh start. The astronauts became gods, granting mankind civilization, teaching it to worship. Then about 4,000 years ago, that had been achieved, unraveled in a nuclear calamity. Now, you can go online, you can find texts from different scholars on, they will tell you they think a nuclear war has been fought already on Earth. Okay, there's a lot of things, a major war happened umpteen years ago. Again, it's hard. It's hard to wrap your head around it. I understand, but that's what part of the Porchlight pod is. You gotta. This is something else, you know. So this is not. I'll try to make it a little. I'm just gonna make it fun too for you. So because this is a hard read. Now understand, I read this book about 15. I'm sorry, I read this book 15 years ago, and it really opened my eyes. So and when you start seeing kind of where we came from, you kind of see where we're going. So and we're just like them as far as the way we're acting, the way the planet's being treated. We are just like them. So but anyway, see, brought to us by the visitors to Earth in their course, in their own rivalries. They have sibling rivalries and they had their fights. So that is a quick synopsis of what this is going to be about. Now, this whole read is not going to be something that going to be an overnight slug. Okay, it's a tough slug. I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to replace some of the words that I know. You know, the Great Calamity is also known. You know it as a Great Flood. Okay. So that's called call it the Great Calamity. So, but here we go. So here we go. The first tablet. This is the Book of Enki by Zachariah Stitchens. This is a tale of the Sumerians, from the Sumerians, on how Earth was created, where Homo sapiens came from, and why, and by this group that you can call them a God with a little g. If you have issues with that, you're not going to like this read. You may want to go ahead and go on somewhere, hug your girlfriend, kiss a boob, whatever you need to do. So, so here we go. Now, I'm not going to read again the whole first thing. It is kind of tough to get through, but we're going to get through it anyway. So here we go. All right, everybody strap in. This is it. The first tablet. The words of Lord Enki. Enki's like a mad scientist, okay? Scientist. So genetic whiz. He is a master manipulator of genetics, okay? Remember that? Enki. Okay. Firstborn son of Anu of the Anunnaki, who reigns on Nibiru. Remember that planet, or Planet X. So the words of Enki, first son of Anu, who reigns on Nibiru. All right. With heavy spirit, I utter lamentates. Lamentates that are bitter fill my heart. How smitten is the land. Its people delivered to the evil wind. Its stables abandoned. Its sheepfolds empty. They're talking about their own planet. So how smitten are the cities? Smitten meaning just everything's in poor shape, okay? It looks like downtown Detroit. You know, so I'm like downtown Detroit on a Saturday night. So the people piled up as dead corpses, affected by the evil wind. The evil wind, you know, something bad's happening on their planet. So how smitten are the fields, their vegetation withered. Again, there's no food, nothing's growing. Touched by the evil wind. How smitten are the rivers, nothing swims anymore. Pure sparkling waters turn to poison. Okay, so of its black-headed people, Sumer is empty. Gone is all life. Of its cattle, sheep, Sumer is empty. Silent is the hum of the milk. In its glorious cities, all that winds howl, death is the only smell. Again, how smitten is the land, homes of gods and men. Oh, the land of calamity fell. A calamity that fell, never seen before. So we're going to go ahead and keep on going. So, but much, okay? So, but here's a synopsis of our first tablet. So, lamentation over the desolation of Sumar, I'm sorry, how the gods fled their cities as the nuclear cloud spread, as we were just reading about, the debates in the council of the gods, the fateful decision to unleash the weapons of Terra, the origin of gods and awesome weapons of Nibiru, Nibiru's north-south wars, unification and dynastic rules, Nibiru's place in our solar system, a dwindling atmosphere causes climate changes, efforts to obtain gold to shield the atmosphere have failed. Okay. Alu, a unsuper or destroyer, uses nuclear weapons to stir volcanic gases. You know, Anu, a dynastic heir, deposes Aliu. Aliu steals a spacecraft and escapes from Nibiru. This is a classic. Because this guy, this Alu, this general, the usurper, you've heard that word before. An usurper is, you know, is somebody who's going to troublemaker, whatever you want to call it, somebody who's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Kind of like, you know, I don't know, just pick somebody, you know, this is out of control. He used nuclear weapons to stir volcanic ashes. And they thought, okay, the spewing up of monatomic elements on the planet of Nibiru, they thought this would start healing their atmosphere. Well, shit went sideways. So Anu, the head person, the head guy, the big dog, the Phil Spencer of the Anunnaki, like this, you know, disposes of him. Basically, he's gonna have him killed. So dude steals a spaceship and he rolls up out of there. So, you know, that we're gonna keep on going. I'm trying to get to where they got the Earth. Let's see here. It's actually hard to find. I thought I had it here. All right, because this is them just going through it on. I may have to start with tab 2. Let me see if I can just find tab 2, guys. Let me see here. Let me go back right here. Let me. So, but we know the summary here. So, all righty. And there we go. Well, that was a pretty short read, wasn't it? Okay. All right. So I'll just start right here. Let's see here. A death-dealing wind born in the west, its way to the east has made its course set by fate. So it says by Enlil. Enlil means Lord of Command. Okay. He's like a general. He's like Aaron Greenberg. Okay. And Nershada, all right, I'm sorry, Ninhursag, it was permitted. Ialon Halt was beseeching. Day and night to accept what the heavens decree, I argue to no avail. So they're arguing with each other, okay? Then Ritu, Enlil's warrior son, amen, the Lord of Command, his son, and Negral, his very own son, they unleashed poison weapons. I mean, they're still fighting this guy. You know, they're still fighting. It is out of control. Okay, it is G.I. Joe meets whatever you want to. So yeah, blood clot. But oh, thanks for all joining me. Yeah, Halo Storm. This is a reading of the first Sumerian tablet. So I'm just trying to change some of the names to help people who don't easier to follow. So, but where I'm trying to get to is when they got to Earth. So, but it's hard to discern. So, okay. Okay. This looks kind of like what we know. Okay. All righty. All righty. All right, here we go. In the cold period, the inner heat of Nibiru, it keeps about its planet, like a warm coat that is constantly renewed. So Nibiru is geothermal. It's a geothermal hothouse. It's like Venus, except they can survive there, not as bad. It says in hot periods, it shields Nibiru from the sun's scorching rays, talking about the warm coat, the atmosphere around it. In its mist, rains, it holds and relaxes. It releases rain to the lakes and the streams, giving rise. Lush vegetation, our atmosphere feeds and protects all manner of life in the waters and on the land to sprout it calls. This is another planet, folks. This is not about Earth. All right. This is happening on. This is another planet. This is a basic tilling of their planet that they came from. So, because their planet was so bountiful with resources, their numbers grew to many regions and they spread out. Some tilled the land, some four-legged creatures shepherd. Some lived on the mountains of Nibiru, some in the valleys, and their homes they made in the valleys. So therefore, rivalries occurred, encroachments happened, clashes occurred, sticks became weapons. This is about some of their evolution. Clans gathered into tribes, the two great nations each other faced. The nation of the north against the nation of the south took up arms. So this is a fight on Nibiru. So, and it's not a normal fight. So a long, fierce war engulfed the planet Nibiru. Brother amassed against brother. Sounds like our civil war. So the destruction, the destruction of north and the south parts were horrible. So they desolated the land and everything like that. They declared a truce. Peace with each other. Let the two nations be united. Let there be one throne on Nibiru, one king to reign over all. Let a leader from the north or from south by lot be chosen. One king supreme to be. Therefore, they're not fighting each other. They made peace. They said, look, there can't be two captains on the ship. So that's the way it was going to go. If he be from the north, let south choose a female to be his spouse as equal queen to reign alongside him. If by lot a south male be chosen, let the north choose a female. They're just going to swap it out. Husband and wife, let them be one flesh to become. Let their firstborn son be the successor, a true unification of north and south. That sounds pretty good. Maybe we need some of that down here. So in the midst of ruins, peace was started. North and south by marriage were united. So the way they got married on Nibiru was somebody from the north, male or female, had to marry somebody from the south, male or female. Okay. So, and that was the way it was going to be. The first king, okay, the royal throne into one flesh combined. That's why it's called royal throne, okay? I don't know what you got to remember. The words are power. You got to know where these words are coming from. Royal means one. Okay, that's translated into one. So the one throne into one flesh combined, an unbroken line of kingship established. Okay, first king after peace was made, a warrior of the north he was, mighty commander. So, his decrees of unity were accepted by all. Everybody's rebuilding now. He built a splendid city. Everybody came there. The city was named Agat, Agati, unity meaning. Okay, so I've never heard of that word before. I'm pretty good. But you notice a lot of these words, the letters start with A. And A is an Arabic word, like algebra, A-L, A, the first one. A is the first letter of our alphabet. A is the first of most alphabets, okay? So, but Agati means unity. To this day, go to Iraq and say Agati, that means peace. So, or Asalam can also mean it too once it's been translated down, but it starts with an A as well. Asalam starts with an A. So, for his royal reign, he was granted. Okay, he's granted his title, and the celestial one was its meaning. So, with strong arm order in the lands he reestablished. So, okay, strong arm orders. Okay, he's basically sending people out. They're starting to put things together. They're all working as one. His first order, this new king's first order was to help start putting shit back together again because they blew it up. So it's kind of like you broke it. What's that saying? You break it, you buy it. So, so anyway, governors for each land he appointed, restoration and reclamation was their foremost task. Of him and the royal angels, thus it was recorded, all lands unified, peace on Nibiru, he restored. Again, this is on another planet. Excuse me. So he built new cities, he built canals, he repaired everything, got the animals back up and going again. There was abundance again on the land. His spouse was from the south. Remember that? A maiden he had chosen for both love and warring, she was noted. So pretty much she was a pretty hard bitch, pretty much. He loved her to death, though. So Antui was her royal title. The leader who is and spouse. So Tua, spouse. The given name cleverly did mean she bore An, that's the guy, An, okay, 3 sons and no daughters. So they had 3 boys. So first son was named An Ki by An. A solid foundation was its meaning. Okay. Alone on the throne, he was seated. A spouse to choose was twice postponed. So, that's the way it is. In his reign, concubines were brought into the palace. A son to him was not born. So, all right. So it's this, he had concubines. He was getting his swerve on. Just the way it is. What's that saying? It's good to be the king. All right. So does anybody have any questions over here so far? So I'm just asking. So see it pop up in your notification. So, just asking. Any questions? So, yep, fallen angels, yeah. So, no questions. So, all right, so we're going to keep going. So, yeah, we'll keep going here for about another half hour. So the dynasty thus begun was by the death of Anki disrupted. On the foundation, no offspring followed. The middle son, though not the firstborn, the legal heir was pronounced. Okay? So his middle son now in charge. So from his youth, one of 3 brothers, Ib, by his mother, was lovingly called. The one in the middle, his name did mean, I-B. Okay? By the royal annals, and Ib, he is named. A-N for his dad, Ib meaning middle. In kingship celestial, again, the one celestial king. By generations, the one who is An's son, the name signified. So all these sons, in the celestial line are An, no matter what. So he followed his father An on Nibiru's throne. By count, he was the 3rd to reign. That's correct. The daughter of his younger brother, he chose to be his spouse. So this is incestual, okay? The daughter of his younger brother, he chose to be his spouse. Yeah, NIN.LB. She was called the Lady of Ib. So N meaning lady, Ib. You have to remember these. I know these terms, but this is for you guys. Write this stuff down if you have to. So remember, A-N meaning son of the first king. N-I-N meaning, spouse of the first king. I'm sorry, spouse of the second king. So, all right. So by royal name, okay. So a son to Anib, okay, and Ninib was born. All right. The successor of the throne he was, the fourth by the count of the kings. This is a count of their heirship, okay, of how it was going to go. So by royal name, An Shao Gao, he wished himself to be known. An's prince, who is greatest of princes, was the meaning. The prince, he's the greatest prince of all. So knowledge and understanding were his chief ambition. So he was kind of he was a beta male. That's what the sisters would call him. He'd be a beta male. So he was wanted to understand and gain knowledge. The ways of the heavens he astutely studied. So he liked the heavens and the stars and things like that. So the great circuit of Nibiru he studied in length, a shar to be he fixed. A shar, I think, has been translated to about 2,500 years. They lived a pretty long time. As 1 year on Nibiru was the measure by its royal reigns to be the number recorded. So a shar, remember, is what their years are counted. But we'll get to, they'll translate into earth years. You'll see what's going on here once they get here. So the shar to 10 portions he divided. 2 festivals thereby he pronounced. When nearest to the sun's quarters, a festival of the warmth was celebrated. When Nibiru was distanced from the sun, they called it a festival of coolness was decreed. That makes sense. Okay. Replacing all olden festivals of tribes and nations. So these 2 festivals they were going to have, the cooling festival and the warm festival, that's a celebration of the new kinship amongst their people. So laws of husband and wife, of sons and daughters by decree he established. So remember, this is a king. This is somebody who studied the stars. So let's see here. From the wars, females greatly outnumbered the males. Hey, now that's a planet I can throw down on, you know. So, so again, now there's more women up there than men, which means all hell's gonna break loose. But here we go. So, so because there were more females than males, he decreed one male to have more than one female for knowing. Or knowing to them means getting your swerve on, okay? So by law, one wife was the official spouse to be chosen, first wife to be called. By law, the first son was his father's successor. So by these laws, confusion soon came about. If the first son not by the first wife was born, and thereafter by the first wife a son was born, by law, the legal heir becoming. Do we understand that? Okay, so if I'm the king and I get my swerve on and I don't have any sons, how will there be a legal heir? So who shall be the successor? The one by the count of Shard's firstborn, the one by the first wife born, the firstborn son, the legal heir, who shall inherit, who shall succeed. In the reign of Anshagara and Kishagara, as first wife pronounced, a half sister of the king she was. So in Anshagara's reign, concubines were again brought into the palace. Concubines. By the concubines, sons and daughters to the king were born. So a son by one was the first to be born. The son of a concubine was the firstborn. Not by the first wife. So therefore, Kishagar bore a son. The legal heir by law he was. The firstborn he was not. In the palace, Kishagar raised her voice in anger, shouting, if by rules, by son, by first wife born, from succession he shall bear. Let the double seed not be neglected. So this woman, this concubine, is sure like, look, I squares out a son. He needs to be put in charge. You feel my pain, you know. So, so though of different mothers of one father, the king and I are offspring. I am the king's half sister. Of me, the king is half brother. By that, my son, the double seed of our father, he possesses. Let henceforth the law of the seed, the law of espousal, overpower. Because genetically, her son had more DNA, royal DNA. She was basically, hey, look, he's going to be in charge. But if you don't like it, you can go kick some rocks. kind of like I did to that game Cuphead. I'm like, you all can go kick some rocks. You know what I'm saying? Because this is, you know. So I've been into it with Tim Dog all day today. So he's really upset that I got rid of Cuphead. So Life is Strange, and Life is Strange, that's one of the best games I've ever played, period. So let's keep moving on here. Let's keep moving on. Life is Strange is much better than Cuphead. So, so let henceforth the law of the seed, the law of espousal overpower. Let henceforth a son by a half sister, whenever born, all above other sons rise to succession. And Shagar contemplated the law of the seed embraced with favor. So they're going to probably do this, embrace with favor. Confusion of spouse and concubines, of marriage and divorce, it would avoid. Now this is true based on what I've read, because there is now a clean line of succession. This makes a little bit more sense. So hopefully this makes sense for you. Is it clear as mud? So, all right. So in their council, the royal counselors, the law of the seed for succession was adopted. By the king's order, the scribes, the decree recorded. Okay, so now this is law. Thus, the next king by the law of the seed for succession was proclaimed. To him, the royal name A.N. Shar, and Shar, there's A.N. again, fifth on the throne he was. Now, this is the account of the reign of Anshar and the kings who followed. So now the law has changed. So it says when the law was changed, the other princes were contending. Words there were, rebellion there was not. So they were arguing with each other, but they weren't going to go and start rebelling. So, as his spouse, Anshar, a half-sister, chose, he made her first wife. So he made her first wife. So by the name Kai, remember K-I, okay, Shar, she was called. Thus was by this law the dynasty continued. This is when you see in England when the princes and the prince will get married. Okay, they'll say this is prince of this. This is princess of this. So this is kind of where that delineation is coming from. So and they each represent a different house. We won't get into that. So thus was by this law the dynasty continued. So this is working so far. It says in the reign of Anshar, the fields diminished their yields. Fruits and grains lost abundance. The planet's having some issues now. From circuit to circuit, nearing the sun, heat grew stronger. In the faraway abode, coolness was more biting. So, okay, it's getting hotter in their summers. It's getting colder in their winters. Their crops are starting not to do what they need to do. In a god, the throne city, the king, those of great understanding assembled. So he brought together his sharpest minds. Learned savants, those of great knowledge to inquire were commanded. The land and the soil they examined, the lakes and streams they put to the test. So again, they went out and they took land samples and things like this. Again, this is happening on Nibiru. This is not happening on Earth again. So they say it has happened before. Some gave the answer. Nibiru in the past, colder or warmer, has grown. A destiny it is in the circuit of Nibiru embedded. So they just think this is a natural thing that's happening, okay, because it's happened in the past, as I've read it to you all before. And now remember, this isn't happening overnight. This is taking place over centuries, okay? We're on the fifth king at this point. So where we're at right now in this read, you should have gotten 5 males, 5 females, okay? If you didn't, you should have written them down. So, all right, we're going to keep going. So they declared it to be a destiny. Again, they think this is happening again. It says, others of knowledge the circuit was observing. Nibiru's destiny to blame did not consider. In the atmosphere, a breaching occurred. That was their finding. That's like a hole. They got a hole in their atmosphere. Like we got holes in Earth's atmosphere. So they're finding out that their atmosphere is falling the hell apart. Volcanoes, the atmosphere forbear less belching, were spitting up. So their volcanoes weren't doing what they needed to do. So Nibiru's air has been made thinner. The protective shield it has been diminished. Okay, so their protective shield is their ozone layer. You know, whatever's protecting their planet keeps it warm in the summer, but not too warm, cool in the winter, but not too cool, because it's balanced out. It's either hot or cold, you know, so they're able, what's happening right now is that it's not happening right. That everything's starting to go to shit again. So in the reign of Anshar and Kishar, pestilence, art-filled, made appearance, told could them not overcome. So they're now starting to suffer under the hands of this king and queen. Okay. Their son, Anshar, then the throne ascended. So that means Anshar croaked. Okay. The male croaked. We're now on the 6th king. So, okay, lordly master of the Shar, the name did signify. Okay, so Anshar, in meaning lordly master of the Shar. Okay, in meaning lordly. So you're going to hear names coming up like Insharda, Inhitu. Remember, En dot means lordly. Okay, so that will kind of help you translate what I'm saying. So with great understanding, he was born. Okay, with much learning, he mastered much knowledge. Okay, to remedy the afflictions he sought. So he's trying to cure what the hell's going on. A Nibiru heavenly circuit, he made much study. The heavenly circuit is it traveling through the galaxy. Okay, that's also called the heavenly circuit. So in its loop of the sun's family, 5 members it embraced, planets of dazzling beauty. So he studied Nibiru going around the solar system, and he noticed 5 planets, thought they were cool. For cures to the afflictions, their atmosphere he caused to be examined. So, okay, understand that line. That is very important here. For cures to the afflictions, their atmospheres he caused to be examined. So because he's seen these 5 planets when they were rotating around the galaxy in their heavenly circuit, he's now going to start dispatching different units, different people from Nibiru, not people, humans, actual people from Nibiru, okay, to these 5 planets. So, all right. So hopefully you all are following that. Do you have any questions so far? Asking any questions. So I assume you're following very well. Okay. Let us move on. So to each he gave a name. Ancestral forefathers he honored. As heavenly couples he then considered. So and Antu, the twin light planets, he called the first 2 to be encountered. Okay, now he has sent out, he's going to dispatch teams from Nibiru to these 2 planets, the like twin light planets. Okay, beyond in Nibiru's circuit were Anshar and Kishar, and their size the largest. Okay, so he named these two planets after his parents. These were the bigger of the planets. So as a messenger, Gaga, so you know the name Lady Gaga. Okay, Gaga is a messenger, somebody that's communicating. So Lady Gaga basically is translating into Lady Messenger. Okay, Lady Messenger. And what does Lady Gaga do? She sings. She brings a message. So okay, that's where the name Gaga comes from. So you all are getting your education from the black man in the green chair tonight. So as messenger, Gaga among them others course, sometimes first Nibiru to meet. So 5 in all were Nibiru's heavenly greeters as the sun it encircled. The heavenly greeters are the planets. They're the planets, okay? Beyond like a boundary, the hammer bracelet, the sun encircled. Okay, the hammer bracelet is the asteroid belt in the Milky Way. Where we are in the Milky Way, the hammer bracelet. So he knows that there are planets beyond the hammer bracelet. Remember, you have outer planets, all right? And you have inner planets. Now, I can tell you, and Antu, the twin light planets, that is Neptune, and that is, because Neptune, I think, is blue, and I can't think of the name of the other planet, but they're like, they call them watery twins, but he has observed them. So again, they've passed close enough to the outer atmosphere where they have seen our outer planets. They also know about some of the inner planets, okay? So 5 in all were the heavenly greeters as the sun it encircled. Beyond like a boundary, the hammer bracelet or asteroid belt, the sun encircled. As a guardian of the heavens forbidding region with havoc it protected. So yeah, that's why those outer planets, they call them, that's like an offensive line. This is the way I learned our planets, is that the outer planets, the bigger planets, they kind of help protect the smaller guys like Venus and Mars. We're the small guys, Earth, things like that. The outer planets, Jupiter, Jupiter and friggin' Neptune and Uranus. Yeah, it was Uranus. Uranus looks like blue-green watery twins, okay? That's An and Antu, okay? So other children of the sun, 4 in number, from intrusion the bracelet shielded. Again, the 4 inner planets are what? Neptune, I'm sorry, not Neptune, Mercury, Earth, Mars, Venus, okay? Are we following that so far? You should be getting an education here. I can't believe nobody's asking questions. So either people have fallen asleep. Now they know about the planets in our solar system, okay? So, okay. In its repeating circuit, the 5, okay, let me go up here. Where was I? Okay. Beyond, okay, we did that. Okay. Other children of the sun, 4 in number, from intrusion the bracelet shielded. So they called the 4 small planets children of the sun. The atmospheres of the 5 greeters Inshar set out to study. In its repeating circuit, the 5 in Nibiru's loop carefully were examined. What atmospheres they possess by observation with the celestial chariots. Chariots mean vehicles, so they had vehicles intensely were examined. The findings were outstanding. They were astonished. The discoveries were confusing. So from circuit to circuit, Nibiru's atmosphere was breaching, suffering. The more breaching it suffered. So it's getting worse on Nibiru. So in the councils of the learned, cures were badly debated. Ways to bandage the wound were urgently considered. Say a new shield to embrace the planet was attempted. All that was to thrust up back to the ground that came down. Basically, everything that came out of the sky, they were trying to put back up there. Okay? So, in the councils of the learned, the belching volcanoes were studied. Belching meaning they were erupting. So, the atmosphere by belching volcanoes having been created, its wound by their diminished belching had to come to be. Personally, what I think is happening to Nibiru is that because it's geothermal, it's starting to die. Okay, the volcanoes that erupted all the time that threw stuff up to help repair the atmosphere, they ain't doing it no more. So, you know, they're not doing it, not going to be able to do. So let with intervention new belching be encouraged. Let volcanoes spew again, one of the savant groups was saying. How the feat to achieve with the tools more belching to obtain. None the king could inform. So they don't know how to make the volcanoes erupt. So in the reign of Inshar, the breaches in the skies grew bigger. Things are getting worse. Rains were withheld, winds blew harder, springs from the depths did not arise. So the planet's getting drier, it's getting hotter, and there ain't no rain, okay? So in the lands, there was accusation. The breasts of mothers were dry because nobody's eating. They're starving. In the palace, there was distress. An incursion, therefore, took hold. As his first wife, Inshar, a half-sister, did espouse by the law of seed abiding. So Inshar, she was called, bearer of the Shars, the lady, a son she did not bear. By a concubine to Inshar, his son was born, the first son he was. By Inshar, first wife and half-sister, a son was not brought forth. By the law of the succession of the seed that we talked about earlier, the concubine's son, the throne ascended. The 7th now to reign he was. So his name was Deruo. His royal name in the dwelling place fashioned with this meaning. In the house of concubines, not the palace, he was indeed conceived. So these queens that they're choosing, they're not getting pregnant. These concubines, they ain't got no problems having kids. So yeah, as his spouse, a maiden from his youth, beloved Deru, chose by love, not by seed, a first wife he selected. So Da-Arua was her royal name. It's almost like diarrhea. So, but it's Da-Uru. Okay. She is by my side was the meaning. So in the royal court, confusion was rampant. Sons were not heirs. Wives were not half sisters. So there's all hell starting to break loose in their palace. So in the land, suffering was increasing. The fields forgot their abundance amongst the people. Fertility was diminished. So they're not having as many kids out in the lands. So in the palace, fertility was absent. Neither son nor daughter was brought forth. Of An's seed, 7 were the rulers. Then his throne was dry. He didn't have any more kids. Daru, a child at the palace gateway, found as a son, she embraced him. So the ruler, Duruer at the end as a son, him adopted because his parents are gone. Legal heir, him decreed. Lamil, meaning dryness, was his given name. That's terrible. His name means dryness. That is terrible. All right. In the end, the dryness, the throne ascended. Though not of An's seed, Ans, or Anu's seed, he was the 8th to reign. In the councils of the learned to heal the breach, there were 2 suggestions. One was to use metal. Gold was its name. Okay, so there's gold on their planet. On Nibiru, it was rare. Within the Hammer's bracelet, it was abundant. So they found gold in the asteroid belt. So it was the only substance that to the finest powder could be grounded. Lofted high in the heavens, suspended, it will remain. So yeah, I don't know if you know this, but there's a reason why astronaut shields are gold. Okay, you all can figure that out yourselves. So thus, with replenishments, the breach it would heal, protection would make it better. So let celestial boats be built. Let a celestial fleet the go to Nibiru bring over. So now they're setting out far, far away to go to the Hammer's bracelet or the asteroid belt. Okay. And even when you put a bracelet on, whether it be a male or female bracelet, it's linked together, things like that. That's why it's called that. Bracelet is not an English word. It descends from them. So let weapons of terror be created was the other suggestion. Weapons that shake the ground, loose the mountains, will split asunder. With missiles, the volcanoes to attack, their dormancy to bestir. So they're trying to jumpstart their volcanoes. They're erupting to increase, the atmosphere to replenish, the breach to make disappear. So for decision, Lahamu was too feeble. What choice to make he knew. He really didn't know if that was going to work. One circuit Nibiru completed, so it's gone around it's already gone around. 2 shards Nibiru to count continued. So in the fields, affliction was net diminished. So by volcanic erupting, the atmosphere was not repaired. So they attacked their own planet, trying to get it to jumpstart. So a 3rd shard passed. A 4th one was counted. Gold was not obtained. So they're in the Hammer's bracelet, and they're not getting enough of what they need. In the land, strife was abundant. Food and water were not abundant. In the land, unity was gone. Accusations were abundant. So everybody is starting to turn against each other again. In the royal court, savants were coming and going. Counselors were rushing in, rushing out. The king to their words paid no attention. Counsel from his spouse he only sought. So Lahama was her name. If destiny it be, let us beseech the great creator of all to the king. She said, beseeching net activities, providing the only hope. So the royal court, princes were astir at the king's accusations were directed. So they're getting pissed off at their king. So foolishly, remember, it's dry. His name literally means the dry one. Yeah, an Xbox fan dryness. Yeah, we're going to start calling the Xbox this thing. There you go. Glad to see Jay still with us, though. We're going to read for 10 more minutes. So hopefully you all understand what is happening here. Their planet taking L. You know, it's going down. It's dry, like Xbox was with games. You know, so now that their planet is dry, people are starting to get desperate, kind of like the Xbox community, and they're pointing fingers. Kind of like the Xbox community. This is like the Xbox community. That's what this is. The Anunnaki are the Xbox community. Okay. So, you know, so here we go. So, all right. So from the olden storehouses, weapons were retrieved. Of rebellion, there was much speaking. A prince in the royal palace was first to take up arms. By words of promise, the other princes he agitated. So he's like, man, y'all got to have my back, you know. A-L-A-L-U. So that's Al-Lu was his name. So let Laham be the king no more, he shouted, or the dryness. So this is it. They're coming after the dryness right now. They're coming after the Xbox, okay? Let decisions supplant hesitation. They're going to come. Let us unnerve the king in his dwelling. Let him the throne abandon. So they're trying to get rid of him, okay? The princes to words gave heed. The gate of the palace they rushed. So they're going after the king now. To the throne room, its interest restricted. Like onrushing waters, they went. To the tower palace, the king escaped, pursuing him. He's going after him. In the tower, there was a struggle. The dryness fell to his death. So he's been assassinated. So dryness is no more. The king is no more. With glee, he announced. To the throne room, Alua rushed on the throne himself. He sat down. Without right or counsel, a king, he pronounced himself. So this guy is, you know, hostile takeover right here. In the land, unity was lost. Some by the death of dryness rejoiced. Others by Alua's deeds, they were saddened. So now this is the account of the kinship of Alua and the going to Earth. So now they are about to leave their planet and send people out, okay? So I'm going to read for 5 more minutes. That'll be 1 hour. So I think that'd be good for us. So in the land, unity was lost. About the kingship, many were aggrieved. In the palace, princes were agitated. In the council, counselors were distraught. Everybody's mad, pissed off. From father to son, succession from An on a throne continued. Even Lahima, the 8th, by adoption, a son was proclaimed. Who was Alua? Was he a legal heir? Was he firstborn? By what right did he usurp? Was he not a kingslayer? Before the 7 who judged Allah, his summon, his fate to consider. So before the 7 who judged, he pleaded for him. Through neither legal heir nor a son firstborn, a royal seed, indeed he was. This guy just kind of came in and got rid of everybody. So in Shargla's aim, I descended before the judges, he claimed. By a concubine, my ancestor was to him born. Alam was his name. By the count of Shars, Alam was firstborn. The throne to him belonged. By conniving the queen, his rights put aside. So a law of the seed from not she created, for a son the kingship obtained. Alarm of kinship she deprived, to her son instead it was granted. So by descent of Alarm's generation, I am confused. The seed of Anshargana is within me. The 7 who judged Alu's words gave heed. To the counselors, they passed this matter, true or falsehood to assert. They didn't really understand what he was talking about, but they let it go. So, all righty. So, and unto the first royal couple were 3 sons, and no daughters were born to them. The firstborn was Enki. He died on the throne. He had no offspring. I guess he liked to pull out. The middle son, in his stead, the throne ascended. Yeah, Enib was his name. And Sharda was firstborn, the throne he ascended. So after him on the throne, kingship by the firstborn did not continue. The law of succession of the seed was supplanted. Okay, because there's no more royal blood anymore. So because they're all being born, they were all halves, then quarters, and then they just ran out of royalness. So the kinship instead of Kishur's son was granted. Her being a half sister of the king was the reason. So again, they're trying to keep their royal bloodline going. So they're not able to do it though. So the concubine's son, the firstborn, the Anus made no record. They didn't even, yeah. So what they started doing is if a child was born of a concubine, they just quit keeping the record because it was getting too confusing. So of him I descended, Alua, to the counselors cried out. By the law of succession to him, kingship belonged. I'm sorry. By the law of succession to kingship, I am now entitled. So without hesitation, the counselors of Alua an oath of truth demanded. Alua swore the oath of life or death as king to counsel him considered. I mean, it's a ruined kingship. The planet's falling apart, but okay. From among the princes, a young prince stepped forward about the kinship words he wished to say. Secession must be reconsidered to the assembly, he said. Though neither firstborn, no by queen or son, a pure seed am I descended. The seed of An in me is preserved, by no concubine diluted. So he's saying I'm pure blood. I'm a pure blood, like Liara is on Mass Effect. So the counselors heard the words with amazement. The young prince to step closer, they summoned. So they asked for his name. He told them, my name is Anu, after my forefather, and am I named. They inquired about his generations. They basically went back in the log, was like, and Anna's 3 sons, he did remind him. So Anki was the firstborn without son or daughter. He died. Anib was the middle son. Instead of Anki, the throne, he ascended. So Anib, the daughter of his young brother, took to be wife. From them onward, the succession is in the annals recorded. Who was that younger brother? A son of An and Antu, one of the purest seeds? They asked. The counselors, with wonderment, looked at each other. I mean, they couldn't believe it. So Enaru was his name. Anu to them announced. He was my great ancestor. His spouse, Ninru, was a half-sister. Her son was firstborn. Enema was his name. His wife was a half-sister. By laws of seed and succession, a son she was born. So he is a pure seed. So a pure descent, the generations continue by law and by seed, perfect. So he is a full-blood, right from the royal line, Anu. Okay, this is what this guy's name. That's just where the name Anunnaki comes from. Okay. So let Anu be king, many counselors shouted. Let Alu be removed. Others cautioned, did counsel. Let strife be prevented. Let unity prevail. So they called in Alalu, the discovering findings to be told. To the prince Anu, Alalu his arm and embrace offered. To Anu he said thus, though by different offsprings of one ancestor we are both descended, let us live in peace together, Nibiru to abundance return. Let me keep the throne, let you keep the succession. To the council words he directed, let Anu crown prince be, let him be my successor. Let his son, my daughter, espouse, let succession be united. So they were going to bring a son and a daughter together, one from the north, one from the south again. So Anu bowed before the council to the assembly, he thus declared. So Alu's cupbearer I shall be. So like Cuphead. His successor in waiting, a son of mine, a daughter of his as bride shall choose. That was the consul's decision. In royal annals, it was inscribed. In this manner, Alalu on the throne remained seated. He summoned the sage, savants, and commanders he consulted for deciding he gained much knowledge. Okay, we're going to stop right there. That is page 25. So we've read pretty well. So that is, so right now, Andrew, they're trying to erupt the volcanoes to make gold, but it did not work. So, and they had massive weapons. Okay, they use nukes on their own planet or something of that fashion. So now when we get to page 26, so we get to page 26, it's going to be about the boats, the celestial boats or craft leaving Nibiru to go inside of the Hammer's bracelet. Inside meaning that they're going to, instead of just stopping at the Hammer's bracelet to look for gold, they're going to go into the planets inside the ring. That's Mars, that's Earth, that's Venus, and that's Neptune, I believe. So, but we're going to stop right there, okay? So, and we're on page 25. So we're still on the first tablet, okay? We're still on the first tablet. So, and as you can see, a lot is happening. So, do you all want me to continue when they get past the Hammer's bracelet, or shall we stop right here? Somebody say yay, nay, something. So, anything. Well, I'm going to declare a yay. Oh, thanks. All right. Well, I guess him, J-Dub saying thanks is, I guess that means that's enough. So what you have learned is the line of succession on Nibiru. Okay. You know that the next person in line for the kinship is Anu. All right. You know that they have left their planet to go look at planets. Neptune. They've looked at Neptune. They looked at Uranus. Okay. And they now are outside of the, again, they have not gone inside of inside, meaning the they have not gone inside the Hammer's bracelet to those planets. Okay. So again, those planets, Mars, Earth, Neptune, and Venus. They have not, but they know they're there. Okay. Because when their planet came through the atmosphere, they noticed they noticed every planet that's here. They know that Earth is here. Yeah, they're cosmic gold diggers. Yeah. So, but that's where we are right now. So they're going to deploy celestial boats. Celestial meaning heavenly, meaning they're leaving their planet. They're in their own spacecraft at this point, traveling, trying to find monatomic elements or gold. Is this the story of Anthem? No, it's not. Yeah, I'm not buying Anthem. After what EA did the Mass Effect, I am protesting Anthem. So full protest. So, but does anybody have any questions? Andrew's the only one that asked one question. So I give Andrew credit. So, yep, they're trying to make, well, they're trying to erupt the volcanoes to make gold. They're trying to erupt the volcanoes to help with their atmosphere, but not to make gold, okay? There's not a lot of gold on Nibiru, so they have already dispatched aircraft to different planets in our solar system, okay? So that's why they dispatched their craft. So we're up to date at this point. They still haven't found Earth yet, okay? Haven't found it yet. So this is a story about our origin. Yeah, pretty much. Is your channels not linked? They're linked for me. Just sub to them. So small plot hole. Gold is an element formed in supernovas. They should have known better. Well, why should they have known better? I die. So just because remember, they're enamored by the atmospheres of Venus, not Venus, of Neptune and Uranus. So yeah, the Europeans, remember, we're not at Earth yet. So we're not even there. They are dispatching boats as we, as part of the story. So, so are there any other questions? Yeah, we haven't gotten to the creation of humans yet, though. We're not close, not yet. So, but we're getting there. They're dispatching more ships into, remember, they're just right outside of the, I'll call it the asteroid belt, but I'm going to start calling it the Hammer's Bracelet. So, so they're outside of the Hammer's Bracelet. Remember, they're searching the Hammer's Bracelet for gold. So let's just say, a spoiler alert, they don't find a whole lot. So, or they don't find enough. So, so the Alien Covenant tried to, a little bit, Well, not Covenant as much as Prometheus did. So yeah. But I'll tell you what, let's read a little bit more. My juices are flowing right now. So, okay. Let celestial boats be constructed, he decided, to seek the gold in the Hammered Bracelet, he decided. Okay. By the Hammered Bracelets or asteroid belts, the boats were crushed. None of them returned. They're out there getting blown apart. It ain't like they got Han Solo flying through the asteroid belt. So, all righty. Let the weapons of Terra, the bowels of Nibiru, be cut open. Let volcanoes again erupt, he then commanded. So the first thing failed. They sent the celestial boats out into the Hammer's Bracelet. They got crushed by the asteroids. It's not going too well for them. So with weapons of Terra, skyborne chariots, again, the word chariots is what? That's a vehicle of motion. These are skyborne chariots with Terra missiles from the skies where volcanoes struck. So this is what Andrew was just talking about. The mountains swayed, the valley shuddered as great brilliances with thunder exploded. Again, they're trying to jumpstart their planet. So in the land, there was much rejoicing. At abundance, there were exceptions. So everybody's like, yeah, hopefully this is working. So in the palace, Anu and Alua, the cupbearer, he would bow to Alu's feet, set the drinking cup in Alua's hand. Alu was the king. Anu was the servant. By him was treated. So not treating him very well. So the land rejoicing receded. Rains were withheld. Winds blew harder. So it is not working. The erupting by the volcanoes did not increase. The breach in the atmosphere did not heal. In the heavens, Nibiru in its circuits kept coursing. From circuit to circuit, heat and cold grew harder to suffer. So circuit to circuit is their seasons. Okay, they only have 2 seasons. It's either warm or it's cold on their planet. Okay, so warm or cold. So when you hear circuit to circuit on Nibiru, there is a hot circuit and a cold circuit. So, and you notice to make a complete connection to this day, it's called a circuit. And you need a circuit breaker to interrupt it. That's where these words are coming from. Okay. But anyway, their planet is getting harder and harder to be on. So the people of Nibiru cease to revere their king. Instead of relief, he caused more trouble. They're pissed off at him. Alu on the throne remains seated. So, but they're growing restless. The strong and wise Anu, foremost among the princes, was standing before him. He would bow to Alua's feet, set the drinking cup in Alua's hand. For 9 counted periods, Alu was king on Nibiru. So based on a shard, he was up there for like 8,000 years, based on a shard. I still think if a shard is, I think maybe 18,000. I think a shard is 2,000 years. But I got to go back into my notes there. So in the 9th shard, Anu gave battle to Alua. Anu is now doing the same thing to Alua that Alu did to the king before him. To hand combat. This is like Optimus Prime against Megatron. It's Xbox versus PlayStation. So, with bodies naked, Alua he challenged. Let the winner be king, Anu said. They grappled with each other in a public square. They're just throwing down. This is, Mayweather and McGregor. Okay, like I said, Xbox and Sony rolling on each other. So yeah, I'm gonna continue. So here we go. So now they're fighting each other. They're in the middle of their land. They're just they're warring on each other. So they grapple with each other. The public square doorpost trembled and walls shook. So they're going at it. So Alu bent his knee to the ground. He fell on his chest. So Alua in combat was defeated. By acclaim, Anu was held king. Anu to the place was escorted. Alatu to the palace did not return. So he just went out somewhere and croaked. From the crowds, he stealthily escaped. Of doing like Lemur, he was fearful. Unbeknownst to others, to the place of celestial chariots, he hurried. So he ran to a craft, okay, into a missile-throwing chariot. Alua climbed. Its hatch behind him he closed. So now he's in the craft. The 4-part chamber he entered. The commander's seat he occupied. The which showed the way he lit up. So he pressed some button and now his craft is on. So the firestones he stirred up, their hum like music was enthralling. The chariot, great cracker he enlived, a reddish brilliance it was casting. So he is taking off. Unbeknownst to others in the celestial boat, Alua from Nibiru escaped. So Anu overthrows him. Nobody helps him. He basically gets through the crowds. He escapes. I don't know how, because he should be laid out in a heap. But so here we go. To snow-hued earth, Alu set his course. By a secret from the beginning, he chose his destination. So remember, Alua, the guy that just got defeated, he knew about Earth. He just didn't tell nobody about it because he had studied the stars growing up. So he knew about Earth. He knew about all the inner planets beyond the hammer bracelet. So now this is the second tablet. So to regions foreboding, Alu made his way. No one has gone there before. No one at the hammer bracelet a crossing had attempted. So he's trying to go through the asteroid belt. A secret from the beginning, Alu's course had determined. So a secret from the beginning. This is something that he knew about. He didn't tell nobody about. So the fate of Nibiru in his hands, it plays. So even though he had been disposed as king, he's still loyal and he's trying to find a way to heal the planet. So by his scheme, his kingship to make universal. On Nibiru, exile was certain. Their death itself, he was chancing. In his scheme, risk was in the journey. Eternal glory of success was the reward. So he weighed it all out. Was like, I got nothing to lose. Riding like an eagle, Alua, the heavens scanned. Below, Nibiru was a ball in a voidness hanging. Alluring was its figure, its radiance emblazoned the surrounding heavens. Its measure was enormous. Its volcanoes fire blazed forth. Its life-sustaining envelope, its hue of redness, was like a sea churning. In the midst, the breach was distinct, like a darkened wound. He's getting further away. He looked down again. The wide breach turned into a small tub. He looked again. Nibiru's great ball turned into a small fruit. The next time he looked in the wide, dark sea, Nibiru had disappeared. So he's jetted. He's gone. Kick rocks. I'm out of here. So, remorse, the heart of Alu gas. So he's upset. He's sad. Fear held him in hand. Decisions to hesitation turned. To halt his tracks, Alu considered. Then from audacity to decision, he returned. So 100 leagues, 1,000 leagues, the chariots were coursing. 10,000 leagues, the chariot was journeying. So he was rolling. He's rolling pretty fast. In the wide heavens, darkness was the darkest. In the far away, distant stars, their eyes were blinking. More leagues he traveled. Then a sight of great joy met his gaze. In the expanse of heavens, the celestial emissions was greeting him. Little Gaga, the one who shows the way by its circuit, Alua was greeting to him, a welcome extending. With a leaning gate before and after the celestial, onto it was destined to travel. To face forward, to face backward, with two facings was endowed. It appeared at first to greet Elu as a great omen that he considered. By the celestial gods, he had felt welcomed, so his understanding. In his chariot, Elu followed Gaga's path. That Gaga, the information person, to the second god of the heavens, it was directing. So he went to one planet, wasn't what he thought it was going to be. So he was like, I got to go somewhere else. It's going to get a little bit more. Okay. Soon Celestial Antu, its name by King Ishar was given. So I think Antu and An, that was Neptune and Uranus. So he's outside there. So in the deep darkness was looming. Blue as pure waters was her hue. Of the upper waters, she was the commencement. Allured by the sight's beauty was enhanced to course at distance he continued. In the far beyond, Antu's spouse began to shimmer. Remember, it's watery twin. By the size, Antu the equal. As his spouse's double, by a greenish blueness, was An's distinguished. I think this is Uranus he's at now, okay? Bluish green, okay? Bluish green watery twins is what Neptune and Uranus has been described. So that is part of NASA's thing. So a dazzling host encircled it on its side. Now, what does Neptune have around it, guys? So he's at Neptune. What does Neptune have around it? It has an asteroid belt around it. Okay? This is what he's seeing. A dazzling host encircled it on its side. With firm grounds they were provided. The two celestials allured Blade a fond farewell to the path of Gaga to still discerning. The way it was showing to his olden master, of whom it was once the counselor. So he's just kind of like, I'm going to turn this damn thing off. So by the speeding chariot, Elu the Isnar pulled, and Ashar could tell. With bright rings of dazzling colors, the chariot, it was enchanting. So he's still traveling. You know, he's getting closer and closer and closer. A sight most awesome then to him appeared. In the faraway heavens, the family's bright star he discerned. A sight most frightening, the revelation followed. A giant monster. It is destiny moving. Destiny. Upon the sun, a darkened cast. Kishar, its creator, swallowed. Okay. He is still rolling. Frightened by the occurrence, and evil omen allured indeed thought. But he just kept going. So the giant Kishner, I think this is Jupiter, okay? I'm just guessing. This is just my guess, because Jupiter is the biggest, most intimidating planet we got. So swirling storms, now see, here we go. Swirling storms obscured its face. Colored spots, they move about. Doesn't Jupiter have a great red spot, they call it? Doesn't it? Okay. Just think about that. All right. So a host beyond counting, some quickly, some slowly, the celestial god encircled. So he's circling the planet. Can't go there. Troublesome were their ways. Back and forth they were surging. Now, look at Jupiter. Look at it. It has storms going both left and right on the horizon. Okay? He is at Jupiter, I believe. So Kishar itself, a spell was casting divine lightnings, it was thrusting. As Alul looked on, his course became upset. His direction was distracted, his doings became confused. The deep darkness began to depart. Kishner on his destiny continued to circuit. So slowly moving its veil from the shining sun, it lifted. The one from beginning came fully into view. Joy in Alu's heart was not long lasting. Beyond the fifth planet, remember, they're coming in, okay? So Earth is not the third rock from the sun to them, because they're coming outside in. He's coming outside in. Beyond the fifth planet, the utmost danger was lurking, so indeed he knew. The hammer's bracelet ahead was raining. To demolish it was awaiting. So he is not inside the hammer's bracelet yet. Of rocks and boulders was it together, hammered. Like orphans with no mothers, they banded together. He's seen asteroids, okay? surging back and forth, a bygone destiny they followed. So their doings were loathsome, troubled were their ways. They weren't following any kind of orbit. They're just bouncing all over the place. So Nibiru's probing chariots, like prey lions, they devoured. So, you know, their ships had gone out there, gotten smashed, okay? The precious gold needed for surviving, they refused to dislodge. The chariot of Alu toward the hammer's bracelet was headlong moving. So he's still headed there. The ferocious boulders in close combat to boldly face. So he's just going to go in there and start blowing shit up. So, you know, allure, the fiery stone that his chariot more strongly they stirred up. So he's charging his weapons. He's about to do a PUBG on them. So the witch showed the way with steady hands he directed. The ominous boulders against the chariot charged forward like an enemy in a battle attacking. So he's blowing shit up. So toward them, Alu, a death-dealing missile from the chariot let loose. Then another, and another, and another. Okay, so you get the thing. He's blasting his way through our asteroid belt. So people are like, why can't he fly over it? You can't really fly over the asteroid belt. So like by a spell, the hammered bracelet, a doorway to the king, it opened. So he got through. In the dark deepness, Alu, the heavens could clearly see. By the bracelet's ferocity, he was not defeated. So now he's on the inner side of the asteroid belt. I think the first planet he should come up to is Mars. Well, let's keep going. If I'm right, let's say it's Mars. So in the distance, the sun's fiery ball, its brilliance was sending forth. Welcoming rays toward Alu, it was emitting. Before it, a red-brown planet. Yes, I was right. On its circuit was coursing. The sixth in the count of celestial gods it was. So again, the planets to them are celestial gods. That's why you got a Venus. Remember, there's a goddess named Venus. There's a god named Mars. Okay, this is why this is, guys, come on now. Got to go with me on this now. So he's at Mars. Allure could but glimpse it. On its destination course from Allure's path, it was quickly moving. So then snow-hued Earth appeared, the seventh in the celestial count. Understand why Earth is the seventh, because they're coming outside into the galaxy, okay? He's outside in. If he was inside out, Earth would be third rock from the sun. All right. So toward the planet, Allure set his course to a destination most inviting. Smaller than Nibiru was its alluring ball. So according to the Anunnaki, Earth is not flat. Weaker than Nibiru was its attracting net, or its gravity. Okay, the attracting net is its gravity. So its atmosphere thinner than Nibiru's was. Clouds were within it swirling. So now he is in the atmosphere. Below, the Earth to three regions was divided. Snow white at top and on the bottom. Blue and brown in between. Defiant Allure spread the chariot's arresting wings. So he's about to land his craft around the Earth's ball to circle. So now he's just in basic orbit going around the Earth. So deftly, Allure spread the chariot's arresting wing. All right, we did that. In the middle region, dry lands and watery oceans, he could discern. The beam that penetrates downward, he directed into Earth's inwards to detect. So now they're scanning the Earth. Hopefully everybody is still with me, because he is now at Earth. So, so yeah. So who's here? 3 people. Okay. So that's cool. Keep going here. So I have, the beam that penetrates downward, he directed Earth's inwards to detect. I have attained it, ecstatically he shouted. Gold, much gold. The beam has indicated it. Was dark, it was beneath the dark hue region, in the waters it was too. So with pounding heart, Allure, a decision was contemplating. Shall he on the dry land his chariot bring down, perchance to crash and die? Shall he to the waters his course direct, to perchance into oblivion sink? Which way shall he survive? Will he the treasure gold discover? So in the eagle's seat, Alua was not stirring. To fate hands the chariot he entrusted. So fully caught in Earth's attracting net, the chariot was moving faster. Its spread wings became aglow. Earth's atmosphere like an oven was. The chariot shook, emitting a mortifying thunder. With abruptness, the chariot crashed, with a suddenness altogether stopping. Senseless from the shaking, stunned by the crash, Alua was without moving. Then he opened his eyes and knew he was amongst the living. So at the planet of gold, he had victoriously arrived. Now this is the account of Earth and its gold. And that right there is where we will stop. We're on page 32. So he has blasted his way through the Hammer's bracelet or asteroid belt. Okay. And now he is landed on Earth, crashed on Earth, if you want to put it like that. A hard landing. So he has arrived on Earth. And ladies and gentlemen, that will be the end of this Porchlight podcast. So, and we will stop right here on page 32. I wrote it down. So we're good there. Don't worry about that. So we're on page 32. Don't worry about it. So we're going through. He is now on Earth. So you know the line of kingship and descendants. Okay, we know that. So you know that Anu supplanted him, but he escaped and got to Earth. And he's trying to, he's just trying to help out everybody now. So, but it is what it is. So we're going to go ahead and call it what it is. So, guys, I do appreciate you all being here. Gee whiz, I can't believe people showed up for this. And it was late. I know it is late, but that's why it's the Porchlight. And so J-Dub and Andrew Wilkins and I-Die and Oaked in here and Spartan God. Thanks for coming. I do appreciate it. I will redo this again on Saturday night. We'll just go ahead and go. Remember, we have a crash ship on Earth. Okay, they found a planet. It has gold. They're going to probably try to come here and start harvesting the gold. So, but that's just my prediction of what will happen here. But we'll keep on reading, and we're going to keep on getting through it, guys. So, everybody, thanks for coming, and good night. The Porchlight is now. But it's time for me to go home. So, guys, thanks for joining me. And again, if you go out tonight, wear white. We'll do this again Saturday, 10 p.m. again. Another Porchlight on this channel. But I'll put it up before I go to work Saturday, okay? So that is it, though, guys. I appreciate you being here. Y'all have a good, blessed evening. I have to work tomorrow night. This time tomorrow I'll be at work. So you guys take it easy and keep on gaming. And remember, the truth is out there. It truly is. Take it easy, guys. Peace.